Good day, my friend, and welcome. This is a subject I wanted to go over. Haven't done this in a while, but I think it's critical. How would I, as a leguleian, acquit? How would I acquit Tyler Robinson? And I think it's critical that we know and talk about this because we're going back again to the exploding microphone and other things too, which are great, but they won't be introduced in court. Of that which the prosecution purports to be able to use, how will you beat the case then? We can't make up stuff. The prosecution defense isn't going to have a mini trial that shows you, well, here's an alternative theory, an exploding microphone. Why didn't you look at that? It doesn't work like that. I don't even think you need this. And also remember, Tyler Robinson is acquitted if either they can't prove it or the case falls apart. It has nothing to do with whether he did it or not. I don't care whether he did it. It doesn't matter to me as a defense lawyer. Prosecutor cares, but if they find him guilty, even though he didn't do it, that doesn't matter either. I hate to say it, whether you did it or not has nothing to do with it. If everybody came in, if they actually planted a rifle with a bullet that matched, he's gone. If they had better confessions, he's gone if they made it up. So I don't think he did it, but my instincts are I don't even care. I don't think they can prove it. So I am going to explain to you why we're going to do this. We're also going to talk about things not from the usual subject matter, but as a lawyer would talk, as I would talk to a jury, as I would talk to you as co-counsel. We will discuss this in its entirety. But now, with all of the horror that's going on, if you had to boogie on out, you got a bug out bag, are you ready to go? If all of a sudden it hits the fan, do you really have something? What do you got? Some banana chips and some crackers? I don't think so. Listen to this because this is the best bug out bag there is. When disaster hits, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall back on what you already prepared. Wildfires, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, blackouts, EMP and grid attacks, riots, disaster. Get it? And when the warning comes, there's no time to search for flashlights or bottled water or first aid supplies while your family waits at the door. That's why My Patriot Supply created the fully stocked bug out bag. You've got to get this. It's a rugged, grab and go tactical backpack packed with 60 emergency essentials, including food, water, shelter, fire, starting tools, lighting, first aid, and more. Everything is already packed and ready right out of the box. Keep one in your car, your home, your RV, your office, your cabin, because the emergencies never make appointments. And right now, you can get $100 off plus free shipping for a limited time. So act now. There will be no special invitation in life. Disaster always comes unannounced. Get prepared now. Go to preparewithlionel.com. That's preparewithlionel.com and click the link today. My friend, when I tell people that I don't care whether Tyler Robinson did it or not, sometimes people can get a little bit, well, they're offended by this or it bothers them. Don't you care? I was like, well, it would help. It might help a little bit, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't necessarily mean that anything. In fact, if I really sat down with Tyler for the first time, I'm going to say, I don't want to talk to you at all about what really happened. I don't want you to tell me anything or my staff or my co-counsel, because that means if you tell me, yeah, I did it, then I can't put you on the stand. I can't put you on the stand. I am not going to suborn perjury and lose my ticket to put you on the stand after you've told me I did it. So let's just wait a little bit. Just don't talk to me. Don't talk to anybody about anything. You hear what I'm talking to you about? Did you talk to your parents? Don't tell me specifically what you did, but just tell me, did you talk to other people about this? Let me know what I've got here. Make a note of this. Did you talk to anybody? Are they going to come in and say you said something? Okay. Because, and this is pretty much figured out right away. Right away. Because let me tell you something. The first thing that people do, they tell their lawyers is, I didn't do this. I'll never forget. Never forget. One time I had a court-appointed case, armed robbery. Black dude had a record. And I thought, okay. So I went to the jail and we're in this little room. And before we talk, I said, and I'm looking underneath for microphones or I don't know. I never trusted them, but there was nothing in there. And the first thing he tells me, this guy, he had a fro or he picked his hair out, or I don't know what the story was. I mean, it looked like Questlove or something, but he's sitting there in the jail outfit. And he looks at me, he says, let me tell you something right off the bat. I'm bad. I got a terrible record, but I didn't do it. I've never been in this city. I'm telling you. I said, no, wait a minute. Hold on just for a second. And just then, the lights went up. So help me God, the lights went up. I'm in this little room with this guy. I don't know who he is. And my hands are out like this. Because I'm thinking, if he comes at me, I don't know anything. I'm in this room. I can't get out. Everybody says, stay in your seats. Well, this is the power. I got to turn the power on. I can hear him moving around. So I'm in this room. And I got my hands out like this, trying to stop him from why he would want to attack his lawyer. I don't know. I'm just thinking this crazy stuff. And I'm going like this. And all of a sudden the lights go on. And he says, what are you doing? I said, Art Carney. Remember that thing? Hello, Ball. Anyway, let's talk about your case. He's wondering, why am I? Why? Because you're a 6'4" armed robber with a bad record, allegedly, and your hair, you look like, I don't know what you look like. That's why. Okay, you got a mirror? I'll show you why I was doing this. But anyway, so let's talk about this. First, I do not know how good or how competent these defense lawyers are. They're very good with death penalty cases. Oh, they're real good. They can argue about the death penalty and they can talk about the death penalty. And that means they have a lot of cases involving the death penalty because they got a lot of cases of people who are guilty and found guilty and given the death penalty. So that, you know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean they're bad. It means they may have bad cases. But the first question I have is, do you ever get any acquittals? Is your expertise like, well, I don't know about trying the case. I'm just good at keeping people out of the chair or out of the, the injection. And that may be good, but there's no way they're going for the death penalty. There's no way. It ain't going to happen. I don't care I don't care what they do. There's nothing heinous about it. It is a waste of time. They say they're going to, because when you have the death penalty, you normally have in the prosecutor's office, you have the experienced prosecutors and they sit around and they discuss, should we do this or not? Because you have aggravating cases, mitigating cases, and you weigh the two. And every state has case law, and of which you are familiar with. And if you've got a plain or if you've got an armed robbery, okay, that's good. But in this case, young guy, we'll see. We'll see. You know what I mean? We'll see. But they're going to talk a big game, and but there will be no death penalty either because he's acquitted, or if he's found guilty, or if he pleads to something lesser, which could be, this is not a death penalty case. It just isn't. It just isn't for a lot of reasons. Why? Because they can't even link the gun to him. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's fine. Now, when we talk about this, oh, look who it is. It's Brett McIntyre, lady. Everybody stand up. It's Brett McIntyre. Do you think Robinson is a patsy? Yes. I keep hearing the scene and evidence were tampered with by the FBI and they haven't shared compelling evidence. I have seen nothing that the evidence was tampered with by the FBI, but as far as not providing all of the information, oh yeah, dumping this thing on you. You see, They love you. You should see in complex civil litigation, they have law firms, they have businesses just to help you with discovery. You've got millions of pages of stuff, but now you got Chat GPT or AI, I should say, not Chat, and it can go through this stuff. So, oh my God, it's the greatest thing. It's going to cut down a lot of paralegals and things like that. You should see You should see. I was watching this demonstration for personal injury lawyers, PI cases, demand letters going through. I mean, it's in the body of law. It's anyway. But I don't have any information. Again, I'm like you. We haven't seen anything. And the first thing I would be doing, I would ask these people. I said, you get on the phone and you call. Out of all the people so far, who I think is just, I have nothing. I like them tremendously. I have a lot of respect. I think Baron Coleman, being a lawyer, knows more the inside skinny. The facts are what's critical. He understands it. There are some other great people, but they're talking about exploding things, and that's not going to come into trial. That's great for YouTube, but that's not going to bring this stuff up. Your Honor, I'd like to show you our theory of what happened with this exploding microphone. What? Remember Mr. Microphone? Hey, good looking. We'll be back to anyway. So I'm not trying to be a naysayer or a Cassandra, but it's just not going to come up. But it's important for us to at least look at the issues of what's happening and why this is critical and why this is how we should be looking at this thing from the start. Now, let's look at this right now very, very carefully, shall we? From the beginning, and I ask you to take everything that you've thought about this case and just throw it out of your mind. The evidence so far that I have looked at, I have seen, like you have, that cast doubt on Tyler Robinson's either guilt or cast doubt in their ability to prove guilt in the Charlie Kirk matter, viewed skeptically, I think, as the prosecution, because I like to think about it in the light most favorable to them, but I'm obviously in Tyler's corner. It highlights the idea of reasonable doubt at every turn. Remember, I'm the defense lawyer. I'm not trying to prove anything. I'm trying to prove reasonable doubt. That's it. I don't care what happened. I'm going to say, you didn't prove the case. You didn't say what happened. Well, what do you think happened? That's not my duty. You didn't prove it. You didn't prove anything. You've got a rifle that nobody can connect, and you've got some shitty attempts at, I guess, confessions. Okay. Now, the case, theoretically, against the 22 or 23-year-old, I don't know, Tyler Robinson, and I'm going to say, look real young. I want him to get a haircut. I want him to look like he's like going to camp. And I want him to have probably has this, a nice shirt with a collar that's too big. I want him to look like kind of like unsophisticated, not crazy looking, but somebody who's not used to wearing a suit. Somebody who looks like, oh, look at him. Does that look like a killer to you? That's what I want. And we're talking about September the 10th of last year, which was the time when Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University was dispatched. And it relies heavily, of course, on circumstantial stuff. And alleged self-incriminating statements, and statements of very questionable reliability, very questionable, okay? And forensics that fail under absolute scrutiny. Is that our friend? Okay. No, I understand it. Now, prosecutors are going to be pushing, so they say, for the death penalty. They're going to be pushing for it, but a closed examination reveals very, very inconclusive, and I'm being kind, ballistics that do not tie the fatal projectile at all to the alleged weapon, the Mauser 98. You see what I'm saying? It's either equivocal or contextually unreliable or whatever. I don't know what you want to say. So this lint brush has not been connected at all with any crime scene, nor has that rifle. It doesn't matter what the rifle is. It doesn't matter. This is not connected. The rifle is not connected. The rifle means nothing. The rifle means nothing. It shows us nothing. It nothing. It's there. It might be nice. It could be a damn good weapon. 30-06, damn good round, damn lethal. You better believe it. But it's not connected. It's a lint brush. So take it and get rid of it. Throw it away. And when you throw away something like that, you have nothing. They look at you like, well, Mr. Prosecutor, what happened? I don't know. He just got shot. With what? I don't know, but he did it. Who did it? Tyler. How do you know? Well, somebody had to do it. Somebody had to do what? You don't have a weapon. You're not even connecting him to it. What do you say? What do you see what I'm saying? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, they want you to go back into that jury room and do what? And do what? There's no weapon. We don't even know what he was hit with. What if, believe it or not, what if it was a piece of plastic what if it was some kind of a directed energy weapon projectile and the medical examiner says, what the hell is this? What is it? I don't know. It's a piece of metal. Is this a bullet? Is it? I mean, we don't even know. I said, wait a minute, you mean to tell me you don't, first of all, you can't connect it, but you don't even know what it is? He said, honestly, I don't know what it is. Or I didn't find anything. Now we're stuck. We're not even there. And I sit there and I say, doctor, so in a cross-examination. Now, believe it or not, if they say, and this is the way we would really do it, if I can get somebody to say, well, we're unable to make any connection. At the end of the case, when the prosecution is done with this witness who cannot make the connection, and he says, no further questions, your witness, I would say nothing. Thank you very much. Get him off. Get him out of here. I will go crazy in closing. I don't want to give this guy a chance to clean up his story, remember something he forgot. I'll open up some crazy line of defense. All I know is this guy just got on the stand under oath and said, there's no connection. Thank you for coming. Nothing from us, Your Honor. Have a nice day. Get out of here. And when you do this, this scares the shit out of a prosecutor. You don't even want to talk to him? Nope. I'll talk about it in closing. And what do I do in closing? Did you hear what happened, ladies and gentlemen? They brought you in. Swore you in, made you sit in that jury room, and they bring out a guy and say, well, we got a rifle, we got a lint brush, and we're not able to connect it. What? What? Why are we here? Do you expect something? Did you hear anything else? No. Pixie dust? Fairies? Gremlins? Did you hear any kind of a death ray? Evil potion? How about a witch doctor with a spell anything? Why are we here? This is a travesty. This young man with the bad suit, that's right, look at him. Looks stupid. That's right. Not that stupid. This guy sitting here had his life interrupted. They're waving the death penalty around him. I don't know if you can even mention that yet because whatever. Still, I think so in this particular case. And you're able to say, for what? For what? This case stinks. They had to pick somebody, ladies and gentlemen. Might as well be him. At least they'd have the courtesy, the decency to have evidence. What the hell are we doing here? They should have said, sorry, we dismissed the case. We can't go to trial, Your Honor. Why? Because I don't have a weapon. It's nothing personal. Happens all the time. I don't know. If you go in and you find somebody, God forbid, deceased, and there's no evidence of foul play, no injection sites, tox screens are clean, no bullet wounds, no blood, you don't charge somebody with murder then either. Now, assume, and again, people would go nuts. You go, you can't do it. I say, sit down. It is so contrary to common sense in the real world. Why? I don't have to prove anything. You just got to, I'm going to ram this down. And when it's all over with, I'm going to make you look like, but if I say something and I say, so, nothing to link the gun. Well, you know, come to think of it, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I have to ask the question? Why? Why did I have to ask? Talk about what kind of a wound a 30-06 would make. No. Because somebody will get up there and say, well, you don't have to, vaporize a head. It can do some. Why did you do this? Well, I wanted to show that a 30-06 would have just taken his head clean off, like Clint Eastwood would say. No. Why did you do this? What are you doing? Why in the name of God are you what are you doing? This is what happens all the time in real life. This is really what happens. People get so into asking the question. Sit down. If they didn't ask, I remember one time, it was a racketeering case. And I saw this fellow who was not exactly the brightest guy, but he understood the law probably better than anybody. And he represented himself, which is even funny. He had a fool for a client and blah, blah, blah. So what he did was, interestingly enough, he had at the conclusion during the closing arguments, this was his closing argument. Well, since nobody mentioned my name, I'm going to sit down. And that was it. And they acquitted him. He got it exactly right. They didn't mention me. They didn't prove anything. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, closing argument. They're going to ask you to go back. Now, you could say, if somebody said, it is interesting. There was remember the crack of the rifle, and, this is the neck. This was the crack. Pow! You saw that, right? What difference does that make? Right? What if they showed you that? Well, what about that? What is that? Sounds like a rifle. And right at the sound of this, boop, the fountain from the neck. Well, what about that? What about that? I don't know. You tell me. What? Was it a sound? The sound? You want him to be found guilty because it made a sound? Somehow there was a sound of a rifle, not that rifle. Or if it was that rifle, we don't know. What does that have to do with anything? It doesn't prove anything. They're sunk. They're dead. Sit down. Don't just sit there and say, well, and the jury's going to say, well, not only that, I'm going to keep I'm going to keep that rifle out. I'm going to keep it out. And moreover, if I file a motion in limine or limine, you can't even mention it. How do you like them apples? You can't even mention it. And without a rifle, without a weapon, think about this. There is a person who actually was felled by a 45 round. M1911, 45, beautiful. ACP, boom, 45. Got it? Okay. Absolutely. It's in there. It's in there. Here it is. There it is, folks. Now, they find a 45 at the scene, but it doesn't match. That's it. What do you say? Well, I mean, he may not have had that weapon, but he was hit by a 45. Yeah. And we found the 45 in there. Yeah. But we don't know where the gun is. We don't know where the rifle or whatever this thing was. We don't even know if it could be a piece of metal for all we know. In that case, where you actually have an articulable, landings and grooves, you have a bullet, but you don't have a weapon. You can't charge them. If I'm walking around like this, and all of a sudden, sound, and somebody said, and they arrest me and convict me, why? Because I was standing where the sound came from? Think about that. They want you to find this guy guilty because the sound was there. It sounded. There's nothing. There is nothing. You can talk all day long. They told you this. And Newsweek is saying, well, they say that there's a, how do I say that? They say that there's this, what do they say? They say that there's this, this ATF report that causes a problem. We haven't seen it. And they're trying so hard to say, well, I don't know if it's not true. So do we understand? Have I made this very, very clear to you? The case stops right there. You're gonna find somebody guilty because a sound. Now I don't know what he told everybody. I don't know what he said. Hey, make sure. Now we'll get to the next point. Did he say, "Hey, I left my rifle there"? Great. And I left my lint brush there, Tyler. I know how you feel. I left my lint brush. What does that mean? What does that mean? What difference does it make? What does any of that mean? I don't even know. It's one of these things that still nobody has been able to really explain throughout the course of this. Now, let's talk about, if you don't worry about that, let's talk about the confession. Let me ask you, you know the facts of the case. Was there a confession? Was there a confession? I don't even know if we're going to get to the confession because if there's no weapon, but okay, humor me. Let's go for that. Let's say we attack this first. What did this confession say exactly? What is it? Who actually heard Tyler say, I did it? Not that I was there. Hey guys, not on some Discord channel, not hey, can you go get my rifle? That's Grandpappy's rifle. And no, 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 no. Who said I did it? Then we bring in old Junebug or Luna, whatever the girlfriend, with the fuzzy hat, the lesbian trans girlfriend. Then we bring her in. Him, her, it, they, whatever. I don't know what they're going to say, but she has to. He has to testify. He has to testify. That's going to be great. So what'd you hear? What'd he tell you? What time was it? What were you doing? What time was it? What day of the week was it? What were you wearing? Remember where you were? What part of the room were you in? Tell me where it was. I don't know. I don't know about you, but most people remember exactly where they were when their lover, their paramour, decides to tell them that they've just committed one of the most important crimes of all time. They're very specific. I remember where I was. I remember I could hear the clicking of the. He's like, I don't know. And then I hope that Luna comes across like an idiot. Like an idiot. So the first thing you say is, what do? Do you cross-examine Luna? Do you tear him apart, limb from limb? Is that what you do? How do you handle that? What's the first thing you ask? What's the first thing you ask? Right off the bat, to set the tone, to make this guy want to get off that stand. And not remember, my rule is he's not your witness. He's there for a reason. He's there to help the prosecution. He ain't there to help you. So you better be real careful when you ask him things. And you would have pretty much known what he supposedly heard, what Tyler supposedly said. And when he's up there, the very first question, I'm going to say, hey, Lance, or whatever his name is, listen, did anybody grant you immunity? Did they tell you about what immunity is? Did they offer or tell you that they would promise not to prosecute you? Did they? Now, if they say yes, oh, so you're here so long as you don't lie, right? Yeah. So what you're going to testify to, they can't prosecute you for. Right? Right. Well, what did they tell you they possibly could prosecute for? By the way, do you have a lawyer yourself? Yeah. Now remember, you can ask, this isn't the defendant. You can't ask a defendant about lawyers. Did you talk to your lawyer? What'd your lawyer tell you? What'd your lawyer think? This is a witness. This is a witness. You can say, did you talk to your lawyer? Yeah. Did your lawyer explain to you what you were maybe looking at? Did your lawyer explain that maybe, just maybe, you might have been involved in something called aiding and abetting or acting as an accomplice or an accessory after the fact? Did he explain that to you? Because when you're talking to him and he's discussing things with you and you know this, I don't know if you went to the police right away. I don't know if there was a time when you were maybe, because you're not a relative. Sometimes in some jurisdictions, sometimes there's like limited kind of immunity if a parent, like if your mother kind of conceals you, think, okay. But I don't think I keep from Luna, the girlfriend or the boy, whatever the thing. I don't know about that. So right off, the jury's going to hear. This guy's been told he won't be prosecuted. No, could he be prosecuted? Oh yeah, really, absolutely. And it just keeps getting better. So when you get into that, when you get into all that stuff, you got to ask yourself the question: what does this work? And these confessions, these unreliable confessions, not to mention physical impossibilities in the timeline. The whole evidence placement, factual these incongruities in the narrative, even these questions I have too about, did you find it odd that when he went to the police and he turned himself in, he never confessed? Do you not find that odd? He went to the police. What the hell do you turn yourself in for? And you didn't confess after you Mirandized him? I want to turn myself in. For what? Stuff. You got to ask all of these questions. This, whether a conventional firearm delivered this fatal wound, all these questions. And in the light most favorable to the prosecution and to Tyler, presuming innocence and demanding proof, beyond reasonable doubt, the case stinks. The prosecution's narrative crumbles into speculation. Loads of contamination, overreach, and one would say, he wasn't even supposed to be here. He wasn't even supposed to be here. We thought for sure that when they got him, he would himself, you know what I mean? Which was the original story. The original story they had was that he said, I can't do time in prison. I can't do this. No way. I can't do this. So that was the confession they were going to use, which was a perfect introduction to, you know what I mean? Don't Take Me Alive is Steely Dan intoned. You got it? See how that story works? It's fantastic. Lori Luck says, I'm lost. I don't know what's going on with this case. Cancer struck a family member and it's hell. What's up? Oh, I'm so sorry. Lori, I you know what? I'll take care of it for you. You worry about your family member, and my best and my love to you and yours. I'll take care of this. Don't worry about it. It's very confusing. Very confusing. The story is just incredible. Inconclusive ballistics. No link between the bullet and the rifle. Let me just say this again. The cornerstone of any shooting case is the shooting. The ballistics matching the recovered projectile. Here it fails spectacularly. ATF examiners analyzed a damaged something, a bullet or jacket fragment or something, little lead fragments from the autopsy against the Mauser Model 98, the 30-06 bolt action rifle. By the way, do you know that the Mauser, when you shoot it, there is a safety latch. And when you have to shoot it, you move this latch to the right. When there is a scope on it, the latch gets in the way of the scope. You can't release the safety. You can't even fire it. And everybody knows this. But this rifle found in the woods near the campus, wrapped in a towel that you would have to take apart, put it back together, take it apart. And the results inconclusive. Examiners found insufficient individual characteristics. Striations, marks, nothing for identification. No residue on Tyler, nothing? I don't think so. Them GSR, some gunshot residue. Lionel is now a gun expert. And you can be too. When an expert says, this is the Mauser, and when you shoot it, you flip this switch. It's very simple. Very simple. And they'll show you. Here's the scope. Yes, We are a gun expert. Yes, very simple. And I explained this to a jury. Yeah. Smart ass. Oh, you're a gun expert. Yeah. And you can be too. It's simple. That's like saying, and there were no bullets in there. Oh, you're a gun expert now? Yeah. And she was pregnant. Oh, you're an obstetrician? No, but she's pregnant. You know, everybody's got to be, you know, it's like you try so hard to be a smart ass, and I love you, but we're right about this one. I'm telling you, you just read it, and anybody can tell you. How do you shoot it? Did you try to test fire it? I don't know why. There's no connection to it whatsoever. The bullet jacket was apparently suitable for comparison, so they said, but there was not sufficient agreement nor sufficient disagreement to link it. Don't you know the way they say that? It's fantastic. Von Anken says, Livia says, Lionel is the GOAT. You know that's right. It is Livia, right? My memory is so bad. I want to make sure I call you the right thing, dear heart. Dear lady, dear sweet lady. This is simple stuff. The jacket was suitable for comparison, but there was not sufficient agreement as to the link. Huh? Lead fragments were unsuitable, apparently, altogether. It's beautiful. And Tyler's like this. Can I go now? No, Tyler. We're going to come up with a magic weapon you use. And prosecutors note that the spent casing matched the rifle. Okay, it was a 30-ounce. Okay. It would have fit. And fragments were 30 caliber, consistent with the Mauser fragment. Okay. But this is class characteristic evidence at best, common to many 30-06 or 30 caliber firearms, not individual identification. And I'm an expert, and you would too. Now, the defense filing emphasized the FBI ran additional tests, implying the initial results were exculpatory enough, meaning indicating that he's not guilty, to warrant challenge. So in a high-stakes case of, I don't know, especially with a scoped bolt action from a rooftop, one expects clear rifling marks. You know, the lands and groove. It doesn't excuse the failure. It underscores why courts demand matches. And without it, the rifle could belong to anyone. Or the fatal shot could have come from another 30 caliber weapon entirely. And I'm an expert on that. See? Now, skeptically, this, dare I say, this inconclusive result, leaked or spun amid media frenzy, suggests that prosecutors, certainly overcharged on weak forensics, experts defending the prosecution call it not unusual. I love that one. But in a case hinging on one shot from a specific rifle, the inability to confirm is devastating. It kills the case. Reasonable doubt demands more than could be consistent, might be. And Tyler's team could also argue that the bullet exonerates the rifle, shifting suspicion elsewhere. And if suspicion is shifted elsewhere, that's called not guilty. Then I want to go back to these equivocal admissions, the confessions, the context, the reliability, the possible fabrication concerns. Now, Prosecutors were, oh, they were so proud, trumpeting a string of confessions. We got a string of confessions. Really? Is that right? Well, what do you know about that? Text to a roommate or partner, Lance Twiggs, Juno, Discord messages, family talks, a note under a keyboard that says, quote, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it. You wrote this before, not after? Lori says, shouldn't there be residue detectable on him? Yeah. And they might have, listen, for all we know, they could have checked. Sure, they would have had here in his cheek. And yeah. I mean, that would have helped. But Lori, if the rifle doesn't matter, who cares? I mean, you can say there's residue. Yeah, a lot of residue. And Lori, do you know why the dogs could not find the rifle? These dogs that could smell a fish fart from miles away. Do you know why? I'll tell you why. Because the rifle wasn't fired. It wasn't fired. Now, and statements, by the way, like, I had enough of his hatred. Let's go back to that. Stick with this. What does that mean? Robinson allegedly told the roommate, Luna, the rifle's location and instructed deleting messages. Why? Why are you doing this? This person say, don't talk to me. What do you don't? And then he says, don't talk to anybody. Oh, don't stop talking to me. And if you look at this thing kind of favorable to Robinson, which you should, these are equivocal at best. Texts and notes in the heat of a chaotic event could be memes. They could be exaggeration, dark humor, venting, common in online subcultures, especially with somebody who's a little destarura. Discord text, can involve iconic, ironic, exaggerated, performative language. Prosecutors must prove intent beyond hyperbole and beyond a reasonable doubt. And the note reads like premeditation, but lacks specifics tying into the act. Family and friend statements came amid intense, pressure, post-arrest, potentially, by the way, influenced by the media saturation or coercion. And Tyler surrendered after family involvement. After family. But initial reports noted, this is interesting, that he was refusing to cooperate and had not confessed directly to investigators. Post Miranda. What happened? Now, skeptically, high profile cases like this invite contamination, publicity, Trump's comments, FBI statements, and it created a frenzy. And the confession spread, via leaks before, formal charges. And then there was defense motions that sought to seal, to protect jury pools, inciting unreliable hearsay, and blah, 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 blah. And the text could be altered, taken out of context, and you have to authenticate this. You have to authenticate this. And you have to take something. And if you send me a text, if I have my phone and I get a text from Lori Luck, I get a text. Am I going to read the text? Is that from you? Can I authenticate it? I got a letter is one thing. I got a letter in the mail, signed such and such from this address. I've seen his signature. I know who it is. It was in response to such and such. That's authentication. That's a true and accurate depiction of what's going on. But what is this? I don't even know. What does this mean? I don't know. We don't know what this means. It's just incredible. And Tyler's alleged, instruction, by the way, to delete the messages. What does that mean? It proves awareness of maybe scrutiny, but not guilt. Anyone in the spotlight might panic. Anybody who says, oh shit, they're going to think it's me. No video of the shooting directly IDs him pulling the trigger. Nobody saw this. Despite claims of all this, this rooftop footage, body language analyses, that doesn't matter. Courtroom footage, it's nutso. Lori Cuck says, it's cuck, not luck. I'm trying to be nice. I don't want to call you a cuck. All right, Lori Cuck, you happy? You happy, Missy? Bless your heart. Lori Cuck has been with us, and she's no cuck or cuckette. Where's the picture? I like what the body language, courtroom footage. These mismatches, they fuel speculation of inconsistent. Does this guy? I know this sounds terrible. Does he look like he did this? And multiple confessions to different people invite also additional analysis and scrutiny for consistency. If genuine, why is there equivocation and the need for corroboration via forensics? Whoever when somebody confesses, they say, I did it. All this reflects a really troubled young man processing events, role playing, I don't know, not ironclad admissions, ironclad confessions. Juries discount pressured or ambiguous statements, but the best part, let's assume that, yeah, they're very, very clear. Let's assume they're very clear. Clear from what? What? There's no rifle you can connect them to. What? If Lori cuck, jeez, if Lori cuck goes into the Utah police and said, I did it. I'm Lori Cuck, not luck. I'm cuck. And I did it. Okay? So just arrest me, put me away. I did it. Where's the rifle? I don't know where the rifle is. It's somewhere. I don't need a rifle. I'm telling you I did it. Why would somebody confess to something they didn't do? I'm Lori Cuck. I did it. Now arrest me. I was there. I hated that guy because I'm a well, you're not a but I'm sorry. We need more about that. Well, and I confess. I didn't confess to other people. I'm confessing to you, the police. The police would say, this isn't good enough. What are you talking about? How did you do it? I don't know. I used a lint brush. I don't know. Was it my grandpa's? There's no evidence it was fired. Well, I did such a good job cleaning it up. The police wouldn't arrest me. The police would not arrest me. Why did they arrest him? Why? What did he say to them that made them say, this is it? Where did this come from? If I said, hey, what are you arresting him for? I told you the same thing. I told you my confession was a hell of a lot better than his. They wouldn't arrest me. This is I never get into the notion of physical impossibilities and evidence placement issues. Oh my God. Several elements strain, as we say, credulity. The rifle, Granddaddy's Mauser, per his text, remember this, was found in the woods after Tyler allegedly left it. Changed outfits and fled. Yet a screwdriver with alleged DNA was on the roof. So how did he disassemble or handle the rifle post-shot while abandoning the tools separately? Both actions require manual cycling. A single spent casing fits one shot, but logistics of rooftop to woods transit under pursuit, raise timing. I mean, so this doesn't make any sense either. Now, again, how did he disassemble this? Why is he leaving? By the way, DNA consistent with Robinson. Remember this one? I like it. Well, there's DNA consistent. Not necessarily a full match, excluding others, but it appears on the trigger and rifle parts, towel, cartridges. Touch DNA, transfers very easily via kind of secondary contact, family sharing the gun, but it's his gun. It's from his home. Handling it before the event or contamination during recovery. I mean, there's no mention of either gunshot residue. This is what Laurie, cuck. No mention of gunshot residue on his hands or his clothes, which is a standard test. Forearm, palm prints exist, but the specificity is unclear. Remember, it's his rifle. So, of course, you're going to find it on there. What's the big deal? Then we talk about other issues. Now, remember, you're the jury thinking, what do I believe? Oh, and then we got surveillance and vehicle claims. Vague, very, very. When Tyler surrendered and his family ID'd him from photos, remember, hey, it looks like Tyler. It suggests some kind of opportunity, but not exclusive access. You see, a scoped shot from a distance demands a certain degree of skill, and Tyler's background lacks any kind of even remote confirmed expertise per anything available. And the physical impossibilities include, by the way, a rapid cleanup, flight, leaving traceable items, and then texting details. A behavior, by the way, which is more indicative of panic or framing something than calculated. Then there's factual incongruities, questions on firearm use. Laurie says, Charlie's dead and Tyler's strange. Need more? Yeah, I know what you're saying. How about the wound and the ballistics mismatch fuels doubt? 30-06 is powerful. Reports of bullet behavior. No exit wound, no fragments. Invite questions if it matches a high velocity round or a suggest. My friends, let me ask you something. You're the jury. You're the jury. Oh, look at this. Lionel, are you being honest or just feeding the chat? Where are you from? Where are you from? Am I being honest? Yes. The evidence is being honest. Do you think I'm being honest? Why am I not being honest? Do you think I'm making this up? Who are you? Where are you from? You think I'm making this up? Ladies and gentlemen, guilty or not guilty? 1 for guilty, 2 for not guilty. Vote. Guilty or not guilty? 1 or 2. Very simple. Let's see 1. If he's guilty, press the number 1. If he's not guilty, just say 2. 1 is guilty, 2 is not guilty. Look at this. Are they being honest? Oh, somebody somewhere is going to be. So look, come on. You're just saying that because I'm just fooling you, right? Because I'm the expert. Come on. Come on, look at this. 2. There's got to be. Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, I say guilty. Of course you got to say guilty. Listen, dude or dudette, I got to show you how to troll. You ain't working. This isn't work. It's not guilty. He's not guilty not because he didn't do it, but they can't prove it. They can't prove it. And if you can't prove it, I don't care. We don't have to prove anything. They can't prove it. And the jury's going to say, can we go now? Yes. Against better judgment rights. Thanks for all you do, Lionel. Love the show. And I'd say not guilty. There's not enough evidence. Precisely. You could even know, and you could even say, you know what? I know he did it. I know, as a matter of fact, but they didn't put any evidence on. I don't understand it. That's the way our system works. That's the beauty of our system, my friends. That's what due process, that is the presumption of innocence. That's the Fifth Amendment. The state has to prove beyond and to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt. So you tell friends to listen to us. And let me also tell you something, and I mean this. This is for you. By the way, this is for you, Lori. It's particular. This is love. It's a hand for it. This is how I show my love. I send this energy to you as a manualist to say thank you. Thank you for being a part of this. We are on our way. Now 500,000. Here we go. We are looking at 400,169. Thanks to you. And it is something I love being with you, and I love teaching you, and I love being who I am. Lori, it's cuck, by the way, says, is it possible they've got evidence we haven't seen yet? Well, yeah, but I think the defense would want us to kind of know that. And if you don't turn over evidence to the defense, it's called Brady violation. Brady against Maryland is a Supreme Court case that if you fail or refuse to turn over evidence which exculpates, which exonerates, they reverse the case. That's simple. So you better turn over everything. And I'd be on the phone and I'd say, did you call Barron up? Did you call Barron? Did you call Nissi? Did you call Fredo? Did you call Fecity? Did you call any of these incredible Colin? Brother Colin? Did you call any of these folks up? Anybody? Have you seen this poor guy, tactical, schmactical, whatever his name is? Poor thing. Mischino. Did you call him up one day? You didn't call him up. You didn't send an investigator to pick up the phone and say, yeah, Mr. Coleman, yeah, counselor. Is there anything you want me to go over that? Because you know more about this case than I do. Candace? By the way, how about our girl? She's in Russia. She's going to come back. I hope she meets Putin. I hope she meets rootin' tootin' Putin and drive them bastards crazy. Did you hear about poor old Ben Shapiro? Ben's over with. Hey, Tater, it's over. You know what Ben's biggest problem was? He's an asshole. He's an asshole. Nobody liked you, Ben. Nobody. It's over, Tater. It's over. That dog don't hunt. It's all done. It's all done. Poor old Ben. Oh, we're going to miss you. Not. You're a weirdo. You're just a weird man. And that poor Larry Loomer, she's so dang pissed off, it's not even funny. Talking about our girl Candace, well, let me tell you something. You're jealous. Oh, I hope you heard of my talk today. I gave a good one how she's going to change everything. And she also told me that she's going to come on my show. She told me that. She wrote it to me, and I said, all right, you and your husband, your children, go back. When you come back from Russia for love, you can just decompress, and I'd be honored with you. Can you imagine that? I don't even know if I'd be able to talk. I say, after all you've done for us. So anyway, that's it. So please follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. She's got some great stuff, Lynn's Warriors. Also sign up for her newsletter. Go to lynswarriors.org and sign up for her newsletter. We just put it together tonight. It's going out tomorrow, and it's a barn burner. And be the first one. And she has this wonderful little bracelet and all this great stuff to support the warriors in the cause. And let me thank you, my friends. Please like this video. Subscribe to our noble channel. Thank you for everything. Have a great and a glorious night. We'll see you tomorrow. Oh, bless your heart. Isla Morada says, thank you for all the glorious vocabulary. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. You are most kind. Oh, by the way, look at that. Glad you brought that up. This is one of my favorite words. Just under this one little section. Leech finger. What the hell is a leech finger? Leech finger is the finger next to the little finger, also called a ring finger. It's called the leech, Leech. How about I love this. Legiadrus, graceful or elegant. Leguleian, a lawyer. I've never heard this in my life. Leguleian, never. Leguleian. And how about this? Here's a great word. Remember this one. Leister. Leigh Ster. Leister. A female liar. Liatricus, having straight hair, but a leister. When you think of Erica, remember this. Leister. Leigh Ster. Leister. Be the first one you can say, I'll tell you what, you can listen to that Erica tell you, but as far as I'm concerned, she's a Leister. And I don't trust a Leister. Leister, which her? I don't trust her. You got that? I don't trust her. I don't think she's telling the truth. She's a damn Leister. And then walk off. And you will arouse suspicions around their friends at the trailer park. All right, my friends, have a great and a glorious day. I love you. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. We'll talk again tomorrow. And don't forget these following words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Da-da.